guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing a reading vlog of new releases. I'm going to be reading 2 new releases in this video. Now, I don't know how new these books are when you're seeing this, but they're new when I'm going to be reading them, and I'm very, very excited for them. They're probably my most anticipated releases this year, at least right now, like spring, summer anticipated releases, and I'm very excited to read them, and I know a lot of people are anticipating these just as much as I am, so I'm very excited to be sharing my reading vlog and my opinions of these books with you guys. So the 2 books that I'm going to be reading in this video is Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood and The Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood is a STEM romance, enemies to lovers. Like, basically the premise is that he works for a company, he being Eli, works for a company that is trying to take over her being Rue's company, or the company that she works for, and basically there's a little bit of rivalry going on, but they kind of meet through like a dating app before they actually end up like meeting each other. So it's just a very interesting plot, and I'm very excited to read this, and I'm very excited to see kind of what this has in store. I've heard that it is a little bit raunchier than her other books, which is a little worrying because I am a really big fan of like her rom-coms, and she says in this book that it is not a rom-com, but that's okay. I'm still very excited for it. I love Ali Hazelwood. I love pretty much every book that she's written except for Bride, because I won't read it because it's just not my cup of tea. It's not my thing. This book I'm very excited to read, and I don't know, I'm just, like I said, excited. This one is probably the one I'm more excited for, or more apprehensive for, so I am going to start with this one, but I do still want to talk about what The Novel Love Story is about before I start reading. The Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston is about a girl named Elsie who falls into a book, basically, and she falls in love with one of the characters in the book. She's in this book town, and she kind of has to like keep the timeline of the book on track, and like also fall in love with this guy, and she's trying not to like mess with anything, but she's also falling in love with this guy, and I'm just very excited to read this. So I've heard very mixed things about this book. I've heard a lot of people really like it. I've heard a lot of people really don't like it. I've heard that the romance is too subplot. I've heard that there is no romance, but I'm just excited to read this and kind of formulate my own opinions about it. But like I said, this will be the second book that I read, so that'll be later on in the video. For now, I'm gonna be reading Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, and I am very, very excited about it. So let's just get right into reading. Okay, so I finished Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, and I read most of it on the beach, as you saw. That was like probably the only clip that I got of me reading it was on the beach, but I just wanted to talk about it and give you guys like a full kind of like review of it. So I gave this book a 3 on Goodreads, so if you see that on Goodreads, it's a 3, and I didn't write a review of it there yet, but I definitely want to give it like a 2.75, 2.5, maybe like a 2.6. I know people don't like use that as a rating system, but that's how I feel. I liked this book. I liked the plot, and I liked the characters and just like what it was about and like their own struggles. I liked the stuff about the workplace and like just kind of the whole like idea of what was going on. If you've read this book, like, you know, I can't really talk about it that much because it's major spoilers, but just know that like I liked the plot, but I didn't like the fact that these 2 were hooking up, which is kind of like what obviously what this whole book is about. I just didn't like the raunchiness of it. I'm a big fan of Ali Hazelwood's rom-coms. I think this definitely could have been a rom-com, and if it was, I would have loved it. I probably would have given this like 4.5. If it was a rom-com, maybe even a 5. Like, I just am not a fan of these kind of like raunchier books, so like it's not a problem with the book. The book was good, and if that's what you're into, you probably would love this, but I'm just not that into that, so I didn't love it, and I gave it a 2.75, 2.5 because of the plot, and I liked the plot. But I didn't like the other aspects of it, if that makes sense. And that's, like I said, just a me thing. If you like that kind of book, you probably would love this book. I'm just not that into the book, and that's kind of really all I have to say about it. Is like, I did really like it. The characters were dealing with a lot, and I really like when romance books have like plot and not just romance. So there was plot, there was character development, there was like depth to the characters and depth to the plot, which I really love in a romance book, but I just didn't like the romance part of it. And I would say that this is definitely insta-lovey, which seems like it wouldn't be. It definitely is. And I just not a huge fan of that. Again, I don't know. Like I said, this book is very good, and if that's what you're into, you're gonna love this book, but it's not something that I'm super into, so I wasn't super in love with this book, and it was more of like a me problem than a book problem. So I would recommend this to people who like that kind of book. It's just not for me, but I still did enjoy like the plot, like I said. I know I just talked about Not in Love, but I am already halfway through Now a Love Story. I don't know if I'm exactly halfway, like a little bit before, but I'm on chapter 18, page 176. This book I'm loving. I'm eating this book up. I know I saw a lot of mixed reviews about it because people are saying that they didn't really like it, or it was just kind of like missing the mark for them, like romance wise, and I can see why, because the romance in this book is definitely subplot, but I really like that. I'm a big fan of romance subplot books. I always have been. I always have like romance in books, but even if it wasn't like the main plot. I mean, I like when it's the main plot too, but I enjoy books more when it's not the main plot or when there's like other stuff going on, and this is definitely romance subplot, but I'm still like, I really love it. I think that the problem that people are having with this book is that it's marketed as a romance book, that the romance is like so forefront in the plot, and it's just not. I would say that like it is very prominent, but it's definitely not the main plot and like not the main thing that we're trying to like figure out, or like the main thing that is happening in this book that we're like supposed to be thinking about, because she is in this like book town and you're kind of trying to figure out like why she's there. There's a character there that isn't in the books, and you're trying to figure out like who this character is and like why he is here, what he's doing here, like all while like there's banter between these characters, and like obviously they're hanging out because she's trying to figure out what he's doing here, but their relationship is kind of building off of the other plot points and like what we're trying to figure out as like the main characters going more in depth of like the story and like the mystery aspect of it, whereas like we're not getting the romance moving along the mystery, if that makes sense. The mystery is moving along the romance, and I really enjoy it, but I think that a lot of people didn't like that specifically because of that, or didn't like this book specifically because of that, but I really like it. I really like this book, and I'm only halfway through and I'm just like eating it up. Like every chance I get, I'm like, I want to read this book. I'm like, I'd rather be reading right now than doing anything else. So I'm very excited about this book, and I'm really excited to see how it ends and see like how everything like comes together. So I'm hoping that the ending is as good as I want it to be, if that makes sense. Like I'm hoping the ending makes sense and is like a good ending to the book, but I'll let you guys know, obviously. So I'm just gonna read some more, hopefully finish this today, and I will update you guys later. Show you guys my sweatshirt really quickly. Please ignore like any background noises, but look at this. It says read in like this little, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like the fabric inside of the reed is like shells and stuff, and it's like this blue gray color. It's the cutest sweatshirt, and it's very comfy. It's threaded by Sabrina. They're basically like discreet like book merch, but it's like souvenir sweatshirts from places in popular books that like you wouldn't recognize immediately would be like places from books. Like they're basically just like cuter book merch, and she makes them herself, right? Yeah. Hey guys, this lighting's pretty bad, but I just finished Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. I literally, wait, let me take the bookmark out. Like, when I say just finished, I mean I literally just finished this, and it was so good. I really enjoyed this book. I don't know, like, I don't know what to say about it, because I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 on Goodreads. If you see that, I gave it a 4, but I think I'm gonna give it like a 4.5, 4.25. It's not a 5-star for me, just because I think like there were some things that I was like hoping for a little bit more, and I feel like I didn't really like get that, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to talk about it and like spoil it, but basically, like, you know from like the summary on the back that Anders is the guy in the story, and she can't place him. She doesn't know where he belongs in the series. Like, she's never read him before, and she's trying to figure it out, and she comes up with like these theories, and she's just trying to figure it out. But I think that a lot of it was like her enjoying herself in the town, which I think she definitely needed. Like, that was something that was like useful to her and helped her kind of like figure herself out. I also just kind of wish that she was like into finding out who he was a little bit more, because I wanted to know so bad, but you don't really get like clues into it. It's not like you get like foreshadowing as to like who he is, because she kind of comes up with this theory and then she sticks with it. Like, she doesn't try and see if like maybe there's something else. Like, she believes that what she thinks is right, so then she doesn't like look into it any further. And I just kind of wish that she would, because I feel like, I don't know, not that I didn't believe that that's what it was. Like, I did, but I also wanted to know for sure. But I feel like she didn't want to know for sure. She was just like taking it and running with it, and then she was constantly thinking about it, and it was like affecting her and the decisions that she was making, but you didn't even know if it was true or not. So it was just kind of like, I don't know. But other than that, I really liked the book. I thought it was really good. I thought that the arc of both of the characters honestly was just really sweet and really like heartfelt to read about, and their story is just very good. And I really was like a little apprehensive, because I didn't know how this book was gonna like end. I didn't know how it was gonna like wrap everything up, because obviously like she's in this book town. I think that this book definitely wrapped up really well, and I think that like the way it was written and the way that the ending was written like made a lot of sense for the characters, and made a lot of sense just like in general. Like, I didn't think that it was badly done, which is good, which is really good. And I kind of was worried that it was just going to be like a little bit of a cop-out ending, because there was a very obvious way that you would end that, and there was a very obvious ending to the story, and I feel like she didn't go with the obvious ending, so that was really good, and I'm glad that she didn't. So basically, I'm very happy with this book, and this was like almost a 5 for me, but like I said, there was like that little bit of like the mystery aspect that I wasn't like, I wanted to know more and we weren't getting more, because the main character Elsie wasn't trying to figure out more. She was just content on what she had figured out, and so for a while she was just living life in this town, and that was really cute to read about, but I was like, I want to know more. So basically, all in all, the 2 books that I read for this video were not bad. I liked them both. I definitely liked Novel Love Story more than I liked Not in Love, but that's not saying that I didn't like Not in Love. You guys saw my whole review on that. And let me know if you guys read any of these books. Let me know if you guys read anything else by Ashley Poston. I am a really big fan of The 7-Year Slip, so if you haven't read that yet, you should definitely go read it, because I'm a really big fan of that book. I haven't read The Dead Romantics yet, but I've heard that that one's not as good, and that 7-Year Slip is definitely like the best one, because I know a lot of people don't really like Novel Love Story. I think I definitely liked 7-Year Slip more than Novel Love Story, but I definitely still really liked Novel Love Story, obviously. And also, if you've read any of the other Ellie Hazelwood books, I definitely like rave about her books on here, because I love her. She's like one of my favorite authors. I'm a big fan of her STEM romances. I used to be a STEM major, so I was a big fan of them. Anyway, like I said, let me know if you read any of these books, if you want to read these books, your thoughts on them, your thoughts on my thoughts on them. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Mwah!